Dancing is actually one of the most powerful acts that you can perform. Celebration, it's like freedom, and it's healing as well. So to me, dance music is so much more than like popping bottles on a Saturday night, you know, and having a little boogie. It's like embodying the universe through your own body. I don't really remember a time when there wasn't music. My dad was a DJ, my mom was a librarian, so I just grew up around books and records. But actually, dancing was like the first love for me. I found music through dancing. And in a lot of ways, I'm a dancer making music. So I realized like music is like the reason I'm here, the love of my life. When I was 8 years old, actually, I started playing drums. There's a few drummers I was really looking up to at that time. Travis Barker actually was like the person who kind of made me want to get into music. And I did this drum competition and I won. From there, I haven't really turned back. There was just a knowing that like, this is what I'm here to do. And that's what I've done ever since. So when I first started out DJing, you know, I was scratching, I was into turntablism, into it because of like the artistic side of like making these strange sounds with records.
So, come on, so.
In Dallas, we have this scene called Dallas Boogie. For those that don't know, Dallas Boogie is essentially like what bounce music is to New Orleans or house is to Chicago even. It's basically our form of like underground black dance music. My involvement was more as a DJ, and I was playing all of the clubs and putting out mixtapes and DJing on the radio. But it was predominantly a black scene and quite homophobic as well. And often there'd be like rival gangs and things in these clubs that I was playing in. It became tough for me because I sort of realized like, even though I felt very connected to being a part of this sort of grassroots dance scene, there were aspects of it that felt quite opposite to me. And so it was kind of ironic to find myself as like a gay white boy in the middle of this like black homophobic like movement. And when I sort of like became more self-aware to that, I just stopped DJing like cold turkey, like stopped doing all the clubs and everything. People actually thought that I had died because I was like everywhere one minute and nowhere the next minute. But actually I just changed my name and started producing electronic music. I had to reinvent myself, you know, and at least for about 2 years, I couldn't listen to any hip hop, any trap music, anything that felt any way connected to that scene. Completely ridden over by like anxiety and trying to like figure out my sexuality and like all these different things. But it was from that I sort of emerged as like a more realized human being and decided to go deeper with like what dance music is. And that's sort of when like Zach Witness was born. So in that sort of cocoon period where I wasn't going out or anything, I was working on this remix of a song called Bag Lady. I realized like, A, this could be a spark to work with Erykah, and B, it sort of like represented the end of this kind of dark time. It was like a light at the end of the tunnel. And somehow like she heard this remix, and by a chain of events, she ended up at my mom's house. We did a remix of Hotline Bling, put it on SoundCloud, it went crazy. And then she had the idea to create a whole album around like phones and communication. She came over to my house almost every day for about 2 weeks. Completely surreal. For many reasons, it made no sense for her to work with me. I didn't have a lot to my name as a producer, but I think she just saw something and felt a connection, and that was enough.
Witness! 2 and 4. Yeah. It's my brother right here. We about to change the world. Period. Period.
What I'm doing now is very much in the lineage of her and the things that she's taught me. Because even some of the most surreal, prestigious artists that I've worked with, I've literally come to my house to work in my bedroom, and I have worked in some great studios, but I have to feel comfortable in order to be vulnerable. It is where the magic happens, I suppose. I think sexuality for me is actually much broader than we lead it on to be. I think labels can be helpful in bringing people together that are like-minded. It's only a frame. A frame can't really tell you what's on the canvas. I think actually the normal state of a human being is to be queer, you know, to be like receptive to wherever life is flowing, whether that's a male body person, a female body person. Human beings are like belly buttons. And some of us are innies and some of us are outies, but we all rest upon the belly of humanity. The outie belly buttons, darling, are quite appealing to me, but at the same time, I appreciate belly buttons as a whole. Things that feel very effortless are really inspiring to me. I think when you're effortless in being who you are, there's a certain sense of grounding, and therefore there's an air of like authenticity to like being effortless and telling ourselves all these stories about who we think we are. And I still don't really know who I am. I try not to think so much about who I am and rather just be who I am. And who I think I am might change tomorrow. The more I lean into that, the more things begin to feel effortless. I think God is like a stranger smiling at you in like a really profound way. And you've never met them in your life, but you feel like, wow, like you made my day by just smiling at me like that. Like that to me is God. It's not this big lofty thing. God is actually in the subtleties. And I think God ironically speaks the loudest when it's the most subtle, the most silent of things. I find myself going to very silent places to like hear God the loudest. God is movement. Everything is a dance. And whenever we put that into our body and dance ourselves, we become like life embodied in this moving skin suit. This to me is why dance music is just like a microcosm of like the universe. God is like the sun shining through dark clouds, but God is also the dark clouds as well. And I think the more we sort of lean into embracing chaos as well as, you know, order, like the more I think our concept of what this is really about comes into view. For now, that's my interpretation of God. It's been very different, a lot of these experiences, from playing in bands to DJing and being a part of a movement to like producing for incredible artists to now pursuing artistry myself. I think really what I'm trying to do is find the source. In that process, you also enable other people to find that in themselves. I can be a catalyst to allowing people to like find the divinity in themselves through dancing and through music. Because for me, like a dance floor is like it's like a sanctuary. It's like you can heal on dance floors. You can let things go on dance floors. I think as an artist and as a DJ, it's a very great responsibility and a powerful responsibility to be able to give that to people.
You know, shake some hips. We out here trying to align booty chakras in this video.
And I have a lot to say and I have a lot to share. I'm happy to share that with even 1 or 2 people, but if I can share it with more like 1 million or 2 million people, then I feel that the work is more potent, you know, and yeah, more healing can be done.